I know, honey, it's not the greatest. I'll keep you alive anyway, dog. Uh, there you are. What's going on? 12:57 in the afternoon, West Coast time. It's July 21st, 2024. About roughly an hour and a half, almost 2 hours ago. I'm sorry, who the hell? Let's see. Last time I checked my ID, I'm the Weaver John C. of Roseman, California. And I do the Diary of the Griever named John Weaver, which is me. So, that being said, yeah, I got the news a while ago, and all the media and the independents are going crazy and trying to marks on there just so it can solidify history at this point. President Joe Biden handed off the reins to his vice president, Kamala Harris, to run the rest of the campaign for the 2024 elections for the Democratic Party. Because there's no way, I don't think, President Biden realized if he was actually going to be well enough for this situation or not. And that kind of irked me out because I wanted this. I wanted him to beat the crap out of Trump. The problem is his body, biology, was trying to beat his spirit. It wasn't Trump trying to beat his spirit, it was biology. Am I an expert of it? Well, I'm getting older and I know biology is kicking my ass. I know it's got to be kicking your ass. So, for a gentleman in his stature and his age, he is doing almost quite well, except he got the COVID and it's knocking his system out a great deal to the point I don't think President Biden understands that this is one race and it's killing him. Sorry, allergies are kicking my ass too. That it won't be him again in the office. I mean, technically speaking, hopefully he's well enough to continue out his term. They would call him a lame duck president, probably, instead of a lame duck Congress. But at this point, he's doing the best he can. And it hadn't been an easy choice for him either. I mean, he probably had the contingency plans all along, just didn't like him. I would have imagined if his own staff or his own close staff had made plans just in case. Talked with Biden about this one off the record, low key. Maybe in the residence where nothing gets recorded or anything else like that. I wouldn't put it past him on that one. What are the options if Biden wasn't going to do it? And this probably happened when Biden was starting to feel sick, I would imagine. When his health was taking a turn he didn't like or they didn't like. I'm not saying cover up, I'm saying contingency plans of what if. Of course, he said, oh, I'm fine, I'm fine. But I wouldn't put it past someone in the staff of saying, no, what if he wasn't? The reason why they had Kamala Harris in the first place, not, forgive me, Kamala. She's Californian. I had to keep it. I had to keep it right on that one. Well, I'm a Californian too, so. But I wouldn't put it past the staff creating the scenarios and then gingerly handing them over to President Biden and say, look, this is just in case. If something happens, this is the reason why you had Harris, wasn't it? You knew that if something happened to you, you would have Harris to fall back on. And with her in the office for White House and her time in the Senate, she was gaining international experience. May have been off the radar. Maybe she was gathering support off the camera and understanding the game. understanding the allies and the political and maybe real enemies of the United States of America. She was a tough prosecutor in California. She made it all the way up to, in politically, to attorney general. So she was a tough prosecutor. She would have been a forceful personality for a debate against J.D. Vance if it was actually going to happen. But now, since she's elevated to the point where she's going to be a candidate, and it's got to be officially endorsed by the DNC, if this is the case, if they actually endorse her, and I hope to God they do, this was the ace in the hole being activated. Only Biden didn't count on this one because of the bugs hitting him left and right. Despite the fact all the good insurances we've heard from the doctor saying a man of his age. Yes. This is one of the contentions I've been hearing all along. It kept taking me out because I kept thinking about age discrimination. We're going against Biden because he's an old man. We're going against him because he was too old. We needed someone younger and fresher instead of an elderly statesperson who understood the nature of the game. And I think they kept Harris not on the sidelines, but behind the lines, learning things about the game more and more. Hopefully, to have her gain experience. I'm keeping an eye on my dog right now. Just want to make sure she's all right. I'll worry about that dog of mine. The things we have for priorities. And right now, everybody's scrambling for voices and opinions for the past, I don't know how long they're going to keep this thing up anyway. Days on end. But my question to me is, how come I started doing this thing late in the game? Because I am late in the game. I'm a day late and a dollar short on this one. But I wanted to wait for all the reactions to kind of wind down a bit, except for this one. And I'm thinking, yeah, everyone else is jumping on the bandwagon, but I'm day late on this one. I got to see how full the bandwagon is before me jumping on it, and whether or not it's going to be worth my time to react to the situation or even talk about it. Normally, I talk about my own personal feelings on my channel, sometimes the politics, and other things happening in life. And I'll continue to do so. I'm not taking that channel down for anything like that. But this was important to me. I wanted to mark my own little thing in history. Because, yeah, I'm still upset about Biden being tossed about left and right. But one thing I am upset about is his own biology telling him that he can't run. He can't run. He wants to. His spirit the same way. He reminds me of my little dog. You guys haven't seen her in a long while. Let me see if I can coax her over here. Come here. Put you on national TV or international TV. Come here. You wonder what I was doing for the entire semester? Being a caregiver to my elderly dog who's slowly losing it. Deaf, nearly blind, 20, 21 years old, Chewiener. She's still got spirit enough to run around when she has the gumption to do so. And the rest of the time she's whining to be picked up all the time because she doesn't like her situation. And I don't blame her. I don't blame her. I have to keep an eye on her. I have to keep her inside the house all the time. We're getting hotter and hotter out there, so putting her on the cement is like trying to put her into a frying pan heated on the stove. I'm not about to do that out there. I'm switching topics here. Just little points of view here. I get pads 2 or 3 times a month. She's not going to be able to make it outside. I know. The older she gets, the worse she gets. So get the pads down. She'll do it. I'll clean it up. Part of being a caregiver is taking care of the things that you love and care about. Biden was doing the same thing. Maybe staff were doing the same thing I was, being caregiver to President Biden. Not to embarrass him. I mean, no disrespect to the President of the United States. To the 45th gas bag? That I will. But not to President Joe Biden or to Vice President Kamala Harris. I'll just say a shout out to you. Hey, guys. Took a while for a Californian to get up there, didn't it? You're not down here, Vice President Harris, to enjoy the smog of smoke and fire and everything else happening in the Southland and in the Northern Cal. But if you were out here in the Southern California region at one time or another with the fires going on, maybe you would already had a lungful already. Imagine you also grew up with the same lifestyle I did. Breathing smog from 1960s and 70s and 80s until they started getting to clean up. I'll put you down, actually. I think she still wants this. She misses this. But this is what we look like when taking care of a president and a vice president at this point. She's an elderly dog. She's a sweet dog. She can be a holy terror when she needs to be. But I am not making an example of President Biden as a joke. I'm saying as a point of reference that I give this dog every right and differential and respect. She's lived a long, short life, but I'm not ready to put her into the vet yet for the final visit. Nor am I willing to do that to the President of the United States in a metaphorical sense. No way in hell. I still support President Biden. It's not just being a lifer Democrat. I support the guy because he's got enough experiences out there and reminds me too much of my grandparents. But if I actually had a grandfather, he would have been the guy I would have been having a hell of a lot of respect for. He earned it a long time ago. And Harris, Vice President Harris, she earned my respect too. So she's taking the torch. She's announcing it. And she's hoping that with people's support that she's going to get in. Now, I know I've said that too many times on my channel. And there have been a few times I've actually said I am not taking things back because I'm sticking by with it. And maybe because my own damn arrogance and my pride and my ego at this point are just too great that I'm not willing to give anybody else the benefit of the doubt or even trust at this point. I hope that Vice President Harris will earn that one more and more. I'm hoping and praying that the voters decide that a gas bag and everybody else is taking their rights away left to right because the elite cushy assholes out there, yes, I did use the term assholes at this point, are willing enough to do this, to step on everybody else's rights to make sure that they're on top and you're on the bottom and they're laughing their heads off at you. And I kept saying it about the voters because they allowed this to happen on their watch. They allowed it to happen. They voted idiots who are subjugating them at this point. So now what are we doing? Now what are we going to be doing? What is it we're about to do? November is coming. About 3.5 months, or 3 months and some odd days. And we, as voters, have to make the right decision, not just out of party loyalty, but what your gut tells you. What does your gut tell you about the candidate? What do you know more about the candidate? What kind of research have you been hearing on both sides? Now, I've seen from experience. I've heard from experience. I've heard from others who are occultists, basically. They kept saying wokeism, liberalism is bad, and they're all communists, they're all socialists. Ah! And I had to keep reminding those people on my videos. They may or may not have been accurate in the titles. I got too many of them. But in the win files, I have told these people the differences of what socialism is compared to what we have concerning about our economy and about our basic structure. I'm not a political professor of any sort. I don't have the academic credentials. I'm still working on the community college level. I'm 58 years old. Give me about another couple of more semesters, I'll be out of there. I said before on my channel that I screwed up my education a long time ago. I didn't take it as far and as seriously as I should have a long time ago, and I didn't. And that's on me. That's on me. I went to community college right after high school, but I didn't have what was needed to carry on. I didn't have the drive. I didn't care as hard. I had a lot of excuses to keep me out of it. And then I disappointed my family, especially my mother. She gave me two options: stay in the house and work a full time job, or otherwise be homeless. You pick. Me, 30 plus years of working my ass off at different jobs left and right. And it didn't matter what I did. Basically, key punch operator, paper shuffler, accountant clerk, telecommunications, insurance rep. No, not insurance rep. A rep for a medical insurance company. Back to the dawn of retail hell. Damn, I got killed in there. Got me out of the rat race. So now I'm a college student. And while I'm a college student at this point, I've seen too much horrors in my own lifetime. And I've also seen other people have way too many horrors than I have. We all have our breaking points. As I said before on my channel, my mother passed away in 2013. Mother, 2018. And in between them, there was a surrogate mother and best friend I lost, and a special dog. I'm about to lose her. So this is not exactly 12 to 15 years I would like to get through. But she still got spunk, and I have to be grateful that I still have that in my life, her in my life. So on my channel, I deal with the emotions. I deal with the triggers. I stayed away from the politics as much as I can, but I still got the triggers necessary to be a complete mental deranged person crying his eyeballs out, missing his family on huge ordeal. And yes, I've already got therapy going on. And I also do self therapy by doing my videos. So talking about my life experiences and my political viewpoints. But no way in hell am I trying to be a leader of anything. I have not been trying recently. Excuse me 1 second here. Yeah, even my health is great, isn't it? But I have not been putting myself in a situation where I'm going to say, I want this from everybody out there. No, I haven't been. I've been trying to be self sufficient and self supporting. I've been that way for a long while. And then I had to be really that way when I lost my support that I needed. It sucks. I know I got my pride, my arrogance, and my ego at work. But it's my survival skills that have been keeping me going. And one of these here days, I'll be passing away alone. But you know what? That's the nature of it for me. But I am not crying my eyeballs over that one. I'm not doing the crocodile tears. I hate death with a passion. Been through it once before. I don't recommend it to anybody else. It changes a person's perspective, especially when you're 4 years old in an open heart surgery. I told my story many times on that one. So it changes my personality a lot, a great deals. And as I've been trying to keep track of the news these days of how many people have been trying to be a liberator of somebody else's life because of their own mental instability, I've started to try to understand the craziness of the situation, and I'm more saddened about it because nobody else figured them out to be a nut job that they could have gotten help. But you don't find this stuff out until it's exploded on you, and then it's way too late. Case in point, I know we're all reeling from the president, the almost assassination attempt of the President Gasbag, number 45 there. While he was out there stumping, somebody decided to take a shot at him and just get a little actually get a little ear music there. Now we got politicians trying to point fingers and blame, and conspiracy nut jobs are coming out left and right, either through politicians and or corporate and independent medias. Anybody else with a podcast doing the same thing? Anybody else thinking that there's something out there like a deep dark state? Yeah, give me a break on that one. But yeah, I'm not having it. I'm not dealing with it. You had a nut job, 20 years old. They had all the earmarks of saying this guy had problems. Unfortunately, the parents didn't pick up on it, didn't care to pick up on it, and now they're questioning themselves and scratching their heads on this one. Where did you go wrong? Where did we go wrong? Well, you went wrong because you were thinking along these lines. There's never too much of ammo. There's never too much of hardware, and especially an or automatic weapons that could be used and obtained. We've been hearing stories. I've been hearing stories about this one. Coming across news stories about this guy who's nobody picked up on his mental health issues. I mean, hell, if that wasn't bad enough, I'm saying Nashville getting overrun by, or Tennessee actually getting overrun by Nazis. I didn't say with the NA, I said Nazis. And thinking that their message of hate and vitriol and terror and terrifying people. No, they want the anger. They want the vitriol. They want people to thump on them so they can blame those people and keep the title as being victims. Typical bully fashion. I'm a bully here. I'm going to pick up on something here. I'm going to pick up on this person over here. And then I'm going to insult the living crap out of him. Challenge me on my message here, why don't you? Don't do it so much. I'm sensitive. But I'll still scare the crap out of you. Ah. This is how it's working, guys. This is what's happening. So, that being said, we're dealing with the onslaught of that. It's not a current thing, it's an ongoing thing. It's picked up momentum over the past 2 or 3 decades if memory is still working. And maybe a lot longer than that. A lot longer than that, probably. Just hidden in the shadows and not spewing up as much, but now it's more and more prevalent. We have a Democratic president switching over to the vice president trying to tell us. They're trying to tell us they don't appreciate it. Problem is, they haven't done anything about it. And to the one person I got in there who actually followed me on this one, yeah, we grieve. We grieve too much. That's the problem. We grieve a hell of a lot, Buckwheat. We grieve on a lot of things these days. We also grieve about our sanity being lost. I hadn't seen much sanity these days. Me, I already lost mine a long time ago. It was good. But then again, I wouldn't know what sanity was in the first place because I was always keeping myself together and sometimes get picked on in junior high. Elementary school, yeah, but at least in elementary school, I fought back and it ticked off the teachers and principals, and didn't make my mother proud, but it made my big brother proud. I was actually able to defend myself. And then you get into high school, and then you get other bullies to pick up on you there because you can't fight back. You're not allowed to fight back. Yeah, I know. But if I had fought back, maybe it would have been different. Maybe it would have been different. But then again, some of the differences I'm afraid of is turning me into one of those nut jobs out there, becomes a police blotter, and then fading from history. One of the main reasons why I've been doing my channel is to keep my memories and my thoughts and uh, my life on in the event I happen to lose to a brain deterioration, if any, or maybe natural mental instability. It's a possibility that I would have something to remind myself of who and what I am. It's basically a lifeboat for me. I didn't want to be forgotten like my family had been or turned against. Trust me, we've had a lot of differences. My family became black sheep a long time ago. We just never been able to hash out and ironed out and try to rebuild bridges. Nope. It kept getting nuked too many damn times. Way too many times. So, family out in San Diego, but not family. I got family up in Illinois, I think. Transfer from Georgia to Illinois. But at least she's being a caregiver. And she's the only one in the family in the bloodline that keeps track of me. I guess that's the one saving grace. That's all right. Getting back to the regular stuff, um, we're going to see how this is going to end up. And we're all day long in next 2 or 3 days, maybe longer than that. We're going to hear more and more about this decision made from President Joe Biden handing the reins over to Vice President Harris, as she should have done a long time ago. And I say that because if the president's condition was getting to be that point, he should have made plans. And if he had made plans, then hopefully we're seeing that handle being demonstrated right now. This is a Hail Mary pass for the Democratic Party at this point. There's going to be a Hail Mary pass for every voter out there who doesn't want the insanity of Donald Trump. I've listened to him. I've listened to every other surrogate and mouthpiece out there that gets themselves online and tell you this is what we should do. This is what we should do. We should blame, 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 blame. Never accepting responsibility, never accepting transparency or accountability. Nothing. They're not doing it. They're sure as hell not doing this crap in the first place. It pisses me off. I haven't heard a positive thing coming out of their mouths except trying to do a smokescreen on people. This is what pisses me off. They don't want to take responsibility. The surrogates and the seedlings and the what was it? I was trying to think of that one movie. Uh about pod people. Donald Sutherland was in the later version of it. It was Invasion of the Body Snatchers, where you had these pods coming from outer space and cloning people into these oddly weird people are supposed to be the originals. And there was an invasion happening here. Get rid of all the originals and you keep the clones. Welcome to the current Republican Party who's been Trumplicated into these invasion of the pod people, body snatchers. They'll mouth off like crazy. They'll say stuff like, but I hadn't heard positive. As always, excuse me. Sorry for blasting out yours. It's always blaming, but there's no positive. I mean, I heard the rhetoric in the 4 years that the orange gas bag had been done. I just can't see it. I can't see his name. But the orange gas bag had promised and didn't do it in the first 2 years of his presidency. We had the Republican Party turning into the Trumplicans, couldn't produce anything positive except more tax cuts for the rich. Screw the poor people. We got to screw them out of the health care, Social Security. We want more of it. And then the elder states people who have been in the Congress and Senate are saying, yeah, 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 more, more, more. And then the other 2 years after the midterms, it was a constant fight. If we had gone into bankruptcy, we should have gone bankrupt. Barely passed enough. Barely passed bills enough to keep our economy stabilized, not to mention the world's economy stabilized. If we go under, if the United States goes under and goes under default, imagine what the world's going to be going through. It's another 1920s all over again. Actually, 1930s, global depression. The thing I keep telling people left and right: history, history, history. I'm not a history buff. My brother was a history buff. He loved watching stuff of historical nature. We would talk about things like this. I wish he was here right now and alive. We could go over stuff like crazy at this point over here. It would drive people crazy online. Probably have a podcast on that one. But unfortunately, he passed away a long time ago. And I didn't think of it at the time of doing YouTube and keeping his memories alive. I wish I had. That would have been something for you to see my brother in action. One last thing before I end the session at this point. I know you guys been watching the channels and probably had questions about what was the background I have. You noticed this. I kept saying mostly to that cabinet. Top shelf is the ashes. And part of the grieving stage is acknowledgement that they're dead. Well, that's a physical acknowledgement right there anyway. They're not dead in here, and they're not dead in here, and they're not going to be, and definitely not in the memory, any videos or audios I happen to recover somewhere in my files. So to me, they're not dead just yet. And if they are dead, it's the day I stop grieving, and it's the day I pass on to the other world. I will be forever in a mortal realm as long as it lasts. A griever named John Weaver. That's me. You know, it's Christmas bunting. Well, I'm keeping that thing up because it's nice. I'm trying to keep things up that keeps my mental stability going. And if it means I have to deal with stuffed animals, I'll deal with stuffed animals. On the side over here, I have 4 Christmas trees still decorated. Some with external lights and one, or actually 2 with internal lights. I don't run them as much, not until the holiday kicks in, and I'll be able to do that. Now, don't be surprised if you happen to see things crawling around all over the damn place. I'm still living in bug war. I'm still dealing in a bug war turf. This whole complex I live out here in Roseman, California, on the edge of Edwards Air Force Base and Roseman. We're dealing with cockroaches and bugs all over the damn place. I'm not quite sure if the houses or the trailer homes also in the neighborhood have been experiencing, but we've got Orkin trying to keep things together. And it's something coming out here in the Antelope Valley dealing with the bugs. I mean, it's bad enough dealing with the San Fernando Valley dealing with the damn ant invasions all the damn time. Look in the kitchen, it's like, oh my God, there he is again. Get the roach spray. Spray the roach spray. Get the powders, damn it. Put them all over the place. Boric acid all over the place and kept the dogs away from them. That kept the roaches and ants at bad times. I probably need to do that for this apartment. Got too many traps as it is, and I need more. That being said, so don't be surprised if you happen to see anything crawling around my videos or even live streaming. If I happen to see anything, just like, oh, I'm sorry, who are you? I'm just a cockroach. It's just going to walk around over here. So back to what I was talking about. Good dishes I still inherited from the family. That, that cabinet's there has been over 100 years old. Inheritance I got from the family. The old furniture. A desk that's over a century old. Falling apart like them everybody else around here. And casserole dishes. I want to keep in order. I want to keep good until we have another earthquake and everything crashes down, and then we're already smushed in foobar and everything else. Okay, you also noticed the things in the back. Well, I'm going to get up. Hang on. Remind me one of these here days to keep my cane about here because that thing always keeps disappearing on me. One thing you have when you're getting older, memory loss of where you put things that you needed in the first place. Marlock is probably still hanging up in the bathroom over there. All right, well, we're going to get up anyway. So, okay. Ain't much. I had these dolls for a long period. Last couple of Antelope Valley College bears that got buried in there, the brown bears. And yes, anytime anybody comes over here and I'm doing recording, I'll catch their attention. See, we got a law inside the state of California, meaning that you have to notify people that they're on camera. We'll turn off the camera if they allow it. I mean, if they say, okay, I don't want to be put on the camera. So if they do allow it, this is the warning for them. I got a huge Spock over there. I've got a gorilla without a voice box. Without a voice box. Used to belong to Universal Studios Hollywood back in the 90s. You would hear Kong's roar out of these things when you squeezed them. It was like going back on the ride when it was still there in 3D. Not the computerized stuff, but the actual animatronic big monkey. My brother loved that. We lost the original, so that's a replacement and a reminder of my brother still around. Cruising cats. MS Cruises. I'm aiming to get another one. Snoopy, representing NASA. Space interest right there. My interest in dogs. Little Rega. She's not the original. She is. There goes that damn thing. She is a copy. A lousy copy, but still a reminder of the dogs I used to have a long time ago. The things I've collected over the years. A police bear from a air show one time. I think it was back in El Toro in the 90s. My brother and I went out there just to see a good air show, and the LAPD was over there. And I got me a teddy bear. One thing you'll never see, hardly ever. Lancaster Jethawks. We used to have a minor league baseball team in the Antelope Valley for about 30 or more years. Well, before I got over here. Because of the COVID situation we had, or even prior to that, the Major League Baseball Commission decided that the minor leagues would be changed. We lost our minor league baseball team. Now we got another league out there who's got the Jethawk, actually got the Lancaster Soundbreakers. Soundbreakers. They still got Kaboom. Kaboom is one of those mascots you got out there. He's a crow, he's a bird, And he's like every one of those mascots you see going crazy left and right and does their public appearances for the baseball team. But have you also noticed the wall that I have over here? Antelope Valley College. Soon to be my alma mater. Map to it. Something of saying I'm a Star Trekkie. I'm a Trekkie. Well, if you didn't notice about the Vulcan in there, I know. Vulcan with Disney ears. This is not saying that Disney is going to be acquiring Paramount Studios and acquiring Star Trek. I just needed to put some ears on top of a Vulcan over there just to make it a little bit more interesting. But I noticed you guys hadn't said too much about this thing. It says United States Navy SEALs with the Budweiser. Ready to lead, ready to follow, never quit. Now, I said before on my other videos regarding my family, including my big brother. He was Navy a long time ago. And he made it into the teams. A lot of details in the videos about this one. When we got out here to Roseman, this was right after Mama died, back in 2013. We managed to snag ourselves a trailer home. Long stories on those and the videos on those on my own channel. He wanted it decorated and he wanted a working clock. Well, we had trouble with the trailer home, the trailer park. We got evicted. I always put in some of the stuff that was put in storage. There were other things we had in storage that we lost. A lot of Christmas decorations I missed. But that was one of the clocks that we actually had put in storage. And when we actually did only 2 runs to get stuff out of the trailer, actually out of the storage. When we moved into this place. A non-working clock. Broken. Just like my brother. But a reminder, nevertheless. Anyway, I keep it up there. Maybe as a presence, as a reminder of my brother, what he used to be. And the things that he had fought for. And probably still fighting in the afterlife, too. If I start taking this stuff down, I'll be taking pieces. And I don't want to lose them just yet. But a friend of mine, one I told you about, one who passed a long time ago, the surrogate mother, her family and ours were close since '76. But we broke apart after they lost their mother as well. Right after ours was lost. They hadn't gotten contact. Not majorly anyway. Not a long while. And I miss them. Past diverge. But her name was Mary Dolores Boutros Reeve. Dee, they called her. And Dee had told me and my brother that things are just things. They're just things. But enough, isn't it? Especially when you're living around things and you have importance around them. Traditions. Well, I probably could say I'm a conservative in that particular area because I like traditions. Grew up around them. But it doesn't make me stiff-minded, and it doesn't make me weak. The older I get, the more I remember the traditions, and some of them I do keep. However, I have to be a progressive in a way. I still think, and let me see if I can get this information out before I end this streaming here. They would call me a socialist because I value people's taxes coming out of our pockets. Hear me out. Hear me out. How do you pay for your services outside? Comes out of your pocket, right? You want a cab? comes out of your pocket. You want a bus, it comes out of your pocket. You want to take a train, comes out of your pocket. You want to drive your car, comes out of your pocket. Everything comes out of your pocket. People say taxes are too much. Well, taxes were too much. How come your roads are getting worse and worse? How come buildings are not stabilized because of earthquake, geologic, or meteorological stuff happening at the same time? That somehow humanity is still being part of the situation going on. And you like fire? You like seeing your place burn down? Would you like to see some firemen coming over here and put out the fire? I put out some videos on my channel concerning about how fire damn near took us out. Okay, I did this on my videos a lot of times. I don't do this usually on live streaming. You guys are going to hate it when I put you through this one here. Okay, boys and girls. I can't do the special effects like everybody else does, okay? I got two computers running at this point, and one of them is definitely not hooked in as a network, okay? So I don't know how to do this technical Felga carb. Yeah, I'm a Battlestar Galactica fan. But I am going to train you online on how to use your maps, Google Maps. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, if you've got your web browsers going, if you've got your smartphones working, go to your favorite browser. And I want you to type in, if you will, in an open tab, Maps space Google. Well, for me, I've already been doing it so many times that intuitive notion of this computer scares the hell out of me. And I come up with a search engine that says Google Maps. So I click on the links. And lo and behold, it'll put you where your normal starting station is. If you're in Roseman, California, and I know a few of my followers are definitely in there, it'll put you where your current location is because it's still using the GPS location that you've already allowed your computer to broadcast. Don't stress on it just yet. Don't stress on that one just yet. It may come in handy at these times. So you're looking at your own local territory where you are. If you're not, put in Rosamond, California. Oh, wait. I need water anyway. No, that's juice. I need the water. Okay. You're there. I want you to go to the east side, right next to Edwards Air Force Base. And if you are on one of the layers, that's the default where you see all the street names and lines going every which way. You head over to the right, which means you're heading east, which means you take your lovely mouse device or whatever you're using and you head over to United and Roseman. I'm waiting. Okay. In that area, if you happen to go to the layers and you happen to hit satellite, it'll give you the image of what you're looking at. Now, before you scroll in any further, just keep it right there because you're going to notice the landscape right now we're dealing with here. The reason why I said something about socialism, about firemen, notice the landscape. What are you looking at? Yeah, you see structures all over the place. But in between the structures, how wide and how large are the tracts of land? Vast, right? Now, I want you to scroll on one of those large tracts of land on closer to Edwards, but not quite crossing into their territory. You see a lot of brush and you'll see a lot of mountains. I want you to look at on the east side of United and Roseman, okay? Scroll. And keep scrolling at the dark spots until it gets to the closest area. Okay, you're freaked out because now you see blackened areas all over the place. Gee, what is that blackened area? Well, imagine that blackened area, not ashes, but actual dry scrub, dry brush and dry plant life. Widen the shot and see how close it is to the residents and businesses. July 4th, we had fireworks hitting left and right. We had people enjoying the fireworks, and July 4th celebrating our nation's 248th birthday. And their usual tradition is scaring the crap out of people by declaring war, by launching rockets everywhere. Doesn't matter how old you were, if you had the artillery, you were launching it. Go to United and Roseman Boulevard to the complex, which is on the northwest area. You'll see 5 buildings. On the edge of the street where it says United and Roseman, you'll be seeing that pit that's right next to a parking lot and bordering one small building to the north and one large building that covers United and Roseman. All right. Actually narrow the shot to that area till you just see the pit in your screen. That is what we deal with on a constant basis. This shot was taken weeks or months earlier than July 4th. You'll see the brush in there. You see flammables. Catching a point? Did you catch the point concerning about rockets? Did you catch the point about fire departments, about socialism? Critical thinking at this point over here, probably still scratching your head because you can't figure out the math on this one. What's the cause of fire? Or how's this sustained? It needs dry fuel. It needs temperature. It needs oxygen. It needs that in order for it to exist. Deprive any one of them, and you don't have conditions for fire. We had temperature. We had dry fuel. We had ignition sources. We had rockets hitting in and caused fire. Now, an apartment complex like this, and not to mention every commercial place in California, they're supposed to have enough fire extinguishers for just emergencies. Well, imagine we have people not trained in the stuff running around and wasting the extinguishers, and nothing was happening to the fires until the fire department came in with their hose lines and took care of it. But some people will be not caring enough when they start to launch motors again right in front of the fire department. Yeah, I did videos about my own thermonuclear going off at that point. Just mouth only. That's about it. I admit that on record. I'm admitting it again. Because I didn't want the rest of my house burning up. And the next day, looking at the apartment, I'm going to scroll it until I see the west end of it. And I see the garbage cans at the back portion of our complex, which is the northwest corner. It is that pit area that got nailed by another ignition source. And then we had a fire. We keep telling people left and right that fireworks don't cause fires. So how many fires in California we've got roaring right now? Some by mistakes, is it probably few by nature, but the rest of it by human nature, human action or inaction. Decisions made, decisions done, decisions acted upon. And this is the reason why I keep talking to people about stuff like this, because this is their homes. I talked about socialism because your taxes pay for the fire department, pay for the police department, pay for a sheriff's department at this point over here, pays for public roads. It also pays for facilities necessary for our own functioning of life. You think it goes in some of the politician's pocket, but we also pay for people who serve you. People don't bother to reading what pure socialism is compared to what we have because we depended upon taxes to pay for services at this point. And without the services, well, we ain't got much of a life after that, do we? The basis of my videos all the time. And the basis why I keep going after people who keep saying that Democrats are socialists. Well, so is the Conservative Party because they are socialists, except they want everything done cheap. And then they pay the price on that one. We all pay the price on done cheap. We want things expensive, yeah, but we try to be fiscally conservative, but to a point. There's always a balancing point when it comes down for finances. My mother never raised a guy who's intelligent enough to handle accounting. I should have been. I never liked numbers in the first place. I still don't. But I know the importance of how the numbers affect people realistically. And that's a different thing altogether. Well, that being said, I think I wasted too much of your guys' time right now. And I appreciate the comments concerning about where people have had roaches in their insane asylums as well. Now, my brother was an interesting man. He was also a talker, worse than me. A lot worse. But there'll be stories if I put them on video and talk about that at great length. I'm just reading the comments right now. Democracy is somewhat socialist, but we need the practices concerning about capitalism. We need to earn income. We need to produce products that we can actually sell overseas instead of being a uh, consumer nation. We got to be a producer of sorts to make sure our democracy is working. We still have to invest in certain situations or in products because that also helps our economy one way or another. We also have properties out there that needs to be built, but we also have to balance it out economically, not economically, but ecologically at this point. We also have to think about environmental situations as well. We're losing a lot of our resources. We're losing water at a great amount. A lot of places don't even have the water necessary. This is why I do the videos is to talk about things like this. And yes, I do go over YouTube and check the indies out because if corporate media is not picking up on the topics, the indies will find it and I'll find a topic and talk about that one as much as my knowledge, which isn't very great. And my experience is not all that great. I'm a pain in the ass, actually. But still, this is the kind of thing we had to deal with. We're dealing with temperature is going to get worse. It's it's incrementally rising. It's not a dramatic shift. It's increments. Maybe we haven't passed a point of no return. I don't know. All I know is the more resources we're using up these days, the worse it's going to be for us down the road. I know I'm a depressing guy at this point for talking about that stuff. But I don't hear the conservative party, the Republican party out there talking about it as much. They want what theirs. Elitism first and screw the lower guys. I mean, they'll talk about it, but that's all they've done is talk about it, and they hadn't produced that damn thing except maybe more wars. But in this situation, I'm going to leave that for the videos regarding the current situations we're in right now. That being said, thank you for letting me blather and drive you insane. Because I know if you turn on the corporate media right now, all the major networks, they're going to drive you insane and repeating themselves left and right. It's like listening to a damn sound box. It just repeat the same thing over and over again. Your echoes. Don't you ever give any substance reasons why? Except you're hearing the echoes left and right. Shit. Give me a break. All right. That being said, I'll probably save the power because already my Edison bill is going skyrocketing these days. And yes, I know about the programs out there that got qualify only just once, and that's about it. I may be looking at one of them. But for next month, not this month, I got to pay the bills. That being said, guys, oh, and one little thing before you run off and toddle off here. You notice I haven't asked for any subscribers, and I haven't asked for any likes. Comments, yeah, because I like to know a few things if people are still pissed off at me or confused at me and want to insult the living crap out of me. Bring it on. But there had been a little bit of times when I started up this channel, I was asking for likes and subscribers because that's what YouTube wants. I'm really trying not to be monetizing here. And I know I'm going to be trying to plead my ass on this one. I try to keep it as much simple and pure as I can. Just be a place I can just sound off and just talk about things. Because I wasn't really able to do that growing up as a kid. I mean, I'll do more videos about that when I can. As soon as I got more room on the flash drives. I'm forcing myself not to say this. I'm forcing myself not to do this. I'm going to hit myself with a paper towel roll. That's going to be putting me on a black mark with YouTube at this point. So if I happen to start saying that I want likes and I want subscriptions and I want everything else like everyone else is asking for, that'll tell me something right there. Anyway, I'll check back with you guys later. And for those who are still wanting to chat with me, my comment section is always open on my channel. Diary of the Griever named John Weaver. With or without a paper towel being lobbed outside my head here.